Good afternoon, class. My name is Dave Williams, along with my group member, Mr. Ramon Delgado. We did our project over Walmart's globalization risk complexities. Risk statement is the major factor affecting Walmart's global investment and financial decisions is that of risk assumption. Some of the risk factors are tariffs, NAFTA and NAFTA 2.0, labor rights groups, political uncertainties, and emerging markets. So, briefly discuss a relationship between Walmart and JD.com. I know everyone knows what Walmart is, but to give you a quick oversight, Walmart operates over 11,000 retail units under 63 banners in 28 countries and e-commerce websites in 10 countries. The company employs approximately 2.2 million associates around the world, with 1.5 of those in the U.S. alone. In its international division in FY17, posted fourth quarter sales of $31 billion. 10 of the 11 markets posted positive sales, while 6 of the 11 grew comp sales by more than 4%. JD.com was founded in 1994. It is China's largest online retailer and biggest internet company by revenue. It teamed up with Walmart, as you can see there, in 2016. A year later, by opening Sam's Club flagship store, 700,000 followers. And then just last year, they teamed up to invest $500 million into Dada, which is a crowdsourced delivery machine, which has roughly 20 million monthly active users. They paired up together more or less to compete with Alibaba and its HEMA-Fresh store partnership. Both of them can provide 24-hour delivery for supplies and food. Which has been dubbed last mile shipping, which is just that allows large companies to streamline the traditional logistics networks to downsize into smaller, more manageable and cost-effective nodes of traffic. So as you can see, there's a lot of risk that Walmart takes right there, really currently with the state, with the United States and China, with what they're going through with the tariffs, which is the next slide. So with all that, investing this large sum of money for potential long-term growth, there's a lot of risk factors that have to be taken into account in order to ensure that Walmart doesn't take a hit in the event that this fails, this partnership fails. So on to the next slide. Tariffs versus China versus President Trump. So earlier in the year, Trump administration hiked tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods and proposed tariffs on an additional $325 billion and goods to include toys, clothes, and consumer electronic goods. A word spoken by Brett Biggs, who is the financial chief for Walmart. We're going to do everything we can to keep prices low. That's who we are. You could correlate that's who we are to Walmart's motto, which is everyday low prices. I actually think that used to be the motto in the stores. However, with increased tariffs, it's possible that those prices will not stay low, and the increase will get passed on to the consumer due to the higher, which in turn reduces consumers' disposable income, which obviously is going to limit what and how much they can buy. So obviously the bigger Walmart grows, the more money they spend, the more their tariffs are going to be so on and so forth. So, so a lot of this stuff, they just have to figure out, is this the correct path? Is this the right way forward for Walmart? And the current markets and the for future growth. So with that, into the U.S., Canada, and Mexico versus NAFTA 2.0. So it's dubbed NAFTA 2.0 because it's been 20 years since NAFTA was first enacted and put forth through legislation and signed off on. NAFTA regulates $1.39 trillion in goods. In the beginning, NAFTA reduced tariffs from 10 to 3%, which assisted Walmart's financial operations. So obviously Walmart had already been growing, and then with the reduction in tariffs, Walmart was able to expand its growth. Unlike many others that were not able to maintain the same pace and faltered or went out of business, and obviously we can see Walmart kept going. It increases its competitive edge as other retailers do not have the capacity to operate at the same level. So, as you can see there, Walmart has invested $1.3 billion in logistics in Latin America to expand Walmex, which is short for Walmart Mexico. It transformed Latin America into the U.S.'s biggest trading partner after China. So, again, Walmart, the risk it takes, investing in Mexico pays off, but how long is that going to run its course? And obviously, I don't know if anyone's tracking. I know Canada and Mexico have already signed the revised agreement. So we're still waiting on the White House to sign it. But with the election coming up, or the primaries coming up, and with everything else going on in the world, it's not to say that NAFTA is on the back burner, but it's not going to be the forefront, or it could be on the forefront for the current president for his platform, how he's bringing jobs, the border, and everything like that. So it could hurt Walmart, it could hinder Walmart. It's just we just have to wait and see. So along with tariffs, NAFTA, political uncertainties, right? Walmart still has to deal with the illusion of labor rights. Walmart must recognize how progressives are targeting labor rights abuses in China. The ICO has documented that hundreds of factories with wage, work hour, and workers' safety violations. The toy manufacturer that makes bobbleheads, they were investigated and discovered that the timesheets with up to 24-hour work days and pay stubs showing workers being paid half for overtime work. And then there's a separate committee for China. It monitors the acts of the People's Republic of China. And in a recent report by that committee, details 16 million Chinese workers were exposed to toxic or hazardous conditions in the workplace. So this is a lot of the fallout that Walmart itself has to deal with, trying to instill its corporate culture into areas that may not be forthwilling or accepting of it, or they might accept it and then they're just going to tweak it how they want to do it because that's how they're supposed to do it due to their own government implications and internal obstacles. So obviously there's a lot of moving pieces that Walmart has to address and readdress every year in order for it to stay relevant with the factors I just addressed. So moving on to the last slide. So for the unknowns, this is what I came up with. an influence diagram depicting Walmart's merger with South African company Massmart in 2012. This is kind of what I envisioned what it would look like. Obviously, without knowing all the full details and having all the data in front of me. So you expand in a new market, has an effect on the corporate culture. Everything obviously ties to the long-term growth on the far right. Expanding in a new market affects labor rights groups, economic conditions, and unions. Walmart doesn't recognize unions in the United States, but a lot of the foreign countries have unions, which Walmart has to recognize to do business there. So it's another aspect of risk that they have to take, making sure that that's differentiated between local and foreign business. Target population plays a role. Of course, the market share, employee well-being, pretty much everything you can, one way or another, tweak it to determine the long-term growth that Walmart is going to have in that certain area of globalization. So that's the end of our presentation. Hope you liked it. Happy holidays. Any feedback, criticism is appreciated. And thank you.